This Good Morning Northwest morning sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Just about 6:53. Let's get you ready for your Monday and your start of the week here in the morning sprint.
Masking no longer required in healthcare settings, and Washington Destiny Richards is in studio with the story.
But first, let's get to Mark Peterson talking about that snow that's fallen this morning.
No doubt about it. We see the active snow that's falling. It's getting lighter, but we see that from Spangle all the way into the Palouse. Right now, current conditions, we're hovering around freezing, either a little below or a little above, but we want you to take it easy today. Could see some frost, certainly some snow on the windshields. Forecast radar, this is all going to be moving out. We're going to see things improve for the afternoon. Over the next 12 hours, temperatures into the low to mid 40s, but that high today of 47 degrees.
A woman was killed when she was hit and dragged by a car at a Safeway in Liberty Lake. Liberty Lake police investigating the crash but say they do not know if drugs or alcohol played a factor. Investigators say it does not appear the driver was speeding. We'll continue updating you as we learn more.
The Cooney County Sheriff's Office has not yet released the name of the person who died in a crash in Post Falls Saturday night. It happened right off of I-90 near Greens Ferry Road. Sheriff's Office says the crash happened while Idaho State Police were chasing a stolen vehicle. One person inside of that car died at the scene while another was taken to the hospital. This is a developing story, and we'll update you as we learn more.
And today, the Idaho mother charged with killing 2 of her children goes on trial. In Boise, jury selection begins in the trial that will determine if Lori Vallow Daybell killed 7-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Ty Lee. A separate trial will be held for her husband, Chad Daybell, also accused in their murders. They're also both charged in the death of Daybell's late wife. The grandparents of Vallow's children reported them missing in 2019 after Vallow privately married Daybell in Hawaii and joined his religious group. After 9 months of searching, the children were found in a shallow grave on Chad Daybell's property. While pleading not guilty, Vallow's defense team has insisted she has an alibi.
In just hours from now, former President Donald Trump is expected to arrive in New York one day ahead of his historic arraignment. Trump is the first former president to face criminal charges. He's due to surrender at Manhattan Criminal Court tomorrow. Courses tell ABC Trump is facing around 24 charges, including felonies.
Idaho Governor Brad Little signed multiple bills into law that will impact your child's education, with one of them meant to improve communication with schools by establishing a parental bill of rights. That means schools will now be required to notify parents about the health services made available by the school or private organization at the start of each school year, including health and wellness services. Parents must also give consent before the school gives their child any health screenings or well-being questionnaires. Schools will also be required to notify parents if their child has been questioned by a police or school resource officer, unless the child is a victim or suspected victim of physical abuse.
Little also signed a bill that will require high schools to have financial literacy classes. Students will learn the basics of real-world personal finance and how to make sound financial decisions. The law makes this class a requirement for graduation.
Also in Idaho, a bill that would restrict children's access to, quote, harmful materials in libraries and schools is on Governor Little's desk. The materials listed as harmful include nudity, sexual conduct, and anything related to the LGBTQ community. Libraries in Idaho, like the Post Falls Library, could face civil action if Governor Little signs this bill into law. This bill, known as the Children's School and Library Protection Act, says schools and libraries can be sued for $2,500 if any employee shows any of these harmful materials to minors.
On a trip to the doctor or dentist, you can now leave your mask at home. Starting today, masking up is no longer required in healthcare settings, long-term care facilities, and adult correctional facilities in Washington. I spoke with Spokane Regional Health Officer Dr. Francisco Velasquez about this change. He says the mask order ending just means we're at a new stage in the pandemic where universal mask order is no longer needed. Health providers can now make that decision for individuals or collectively if they're part of a healthcare system. Overall, he says COVID transmission is low, flu and RSV case rates have dropped, and we've made progress in containing the viruses. For more information on the mask order lifting and Providence's new masking policies in our region, see this story on KXLY.com.
Vista has filed a request to raise rates. If it's approved by the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission, the average household would see that monthly bill go up by around $5.60.
And coming up next on Good Morning America, ABC's Kana Whitworth talked with Ethan Chapin's parents. Ethan was one of the 4 University of Idaho students killed in a Moscow home in November. Ethan's parents spoke with Kana about how their family's doing nearly 5 months after.